The average American now faces over 8 hours of power outages every year, and that number is climbing fast. During the last major blackout, people were fighting over batteries at gas stations while some families went an entire week without running water. The difference between those who thrived and those who barely survived? Preparation. In this video, we're breaking down the 8 critical supplies and strategies that will keep your family safe, comfortable, and dignified when the grid goes down. We're not talking about expensive bunkers or paranoid prepping, just practical, affordable essentials that could save your life. Stick around until the end because we'll reveal the one mistake that sent emergency room visits skyrocketing 700% during the last blackout. Welcome to Prep Pantry, where we make emergency preparedness simple and accessible for everyone. If you're serious about protecting your family, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss our life-saving content. Now, let's dive in. Let's start with the most critical resource of all, water. Your body can survive only 3 days without it, and during disasters like the Texas freeze, families went nearly a week without running water. The CDC now recommends storing at least 1 gallon per person per day, and double that in hot weather or for those with medical conditions. Here's the shocking part. A University of California study found that 78% of Americans don't even have a 3-day water supply. If you're one of them, you're not alone, but you are at risk. So what's the best way to store water? First, throw out those old milk jugs. These containers break down over time and can leach dangerous chemicals into your water. Instead, invest in BPA-free water bricks. These are stackable, space-efficient, and incredibly durable. 12 of these can keep a family hydrated for weeks. If you're on a budget, blue 7-gallon containers from outdoor stores work perfectly well, as long as you keep them out of direct sunlight. But here's the thing. Stored water only gets you so far. Eventually, you'll run out. That's where purification comes in. Water infrastructure is often the first thing to fail during disasters. Purification tablets, now included in 95% of emergency kits worldwide, can make questionable water safe to drink in just 30 minutes. Even better are gravity-fed water filters, which remove an incredible 99.9999% of bacteria and viruses. During one blackout, someone filtered rainwater for free while their neighbors were paying $10 per gallon for bottled water. For about $60, you can build a complete water system that will keep your family hydrated through virtually any emergency. Don't wait until you're knocking on doors desperate for a drink. Now let's talk about food. When the power goes out, everything in your fridge and freezer is on a countdown to spoil. A well-stocked pantry of non-perishable foods becomes absolutely crucial. Start with canned proteins like tuna, chicken, and beans. These are essential for maintaining energy and getting enough protein. Then add shelf-stable carbohydrates, rice, oats, and instant mashed potatoes. These will keep you full and provide the calories you need. Don't forget nutrient-dense foods like peanut butter, trail mix, granola bars, and dried fruits. UHT milk or powdered milk can last for months and provides essential calcium and vitamins. Here's a pro tip. Create no-cook emergency meal kits. Pack ready-to-eat items together. Beans, crackers, jerky, trail mix, and canned fruit. When you're exhausted and stressed, the last thing you want is to figure out what goes together. And here's something most people overlook. Morale foods. Instant hot chocolate, Nutella, favorite snacks. These small comforts can make a massive psychological difference when everything else is falling apart. Never underestimate the power of a treat during a crisis. Managing your stockpile is just as important as building it. Use the FIFO system. First in, first out. When you buy new items, move the older ones to the front and replace what you use with fresh stock. Every 6 months, conduct a full audit. Check for expired or damaged goods and replace them immediately. Keep a printed inventory list in a visible spot so you can quickly reference what you have during an emergency. A well-planned food supply isn't just about survival. It's about maintaining energy, health, and morale when you need it most. Of course, all that food doesn't help if you can't cook it safely, and this is where people make deadly mistakes. During the last winter blackout in Texas, emergency rooms saw a 700% spike in carbon monoxide poisoning. Why? Because desperate people brought grills and camp stoves indoors. One family lost a distant relative this way during Hurricane Sandy. Safe cooking options aren't optional, they're absolutely essential. The safest indoor emergency cooking option is a butane stove, as long as you have proper ventilation. These are affordable, efficient, and versatile. For outdoor cooking, propane grills are excellent. Newer models feature battery-free ignition systems specifically designed for emergencies, but always keep matches and lighters as backup. Here's an option most people don't consider: solar ovens. These harness the power of the sun to cook meals. Even on cloudy days, they can heat food to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, enough to sanitize water and slow cook meals. Don't forget about compact camping gear. Folding stoves with hexamine fuel tablets are perfect for heating soup or making coffee. They're incredibly compact and the fuel lasts for years. And if you really want to be self-sufficient, rocket stoves are game changers. These efficient wood-burning stoves run on twigs and fallen branches. During one ice storm, someone cooked 3 meals daily using nothing but branches they collected from their yard. Here's a critical safety point. Improper fuel storage caused 42% of home fires during emergencies. Always store propane tanks outside, keep butane canisters in cool, dry places, and make sure you have backup fuel before storms hit. Hot meals aren't just about nutrition. They boost morale and give you something to look forward to when everything else is falling apart. Let's move on to lighting. This might seem simple, but darkness creates serious dangers. Your phone's flashlight dies in about 20 minutes. Candles, while common, are incredibly dangerous. One tipped over candle nearly burned down a neighbor's house during an ice storm. And here's a statistic that should grab your attention. Emergency rooms reported a 43% spike in fall injuries from people stumbling around in the dark during the Texas grid failure. Modern battery-powered lanterns are absolute lifesavers. LED models can run up to 300 hours on low settings. The Luminade Packlight Nova, for example, offers a 24-hour runtime on high and has a 5-year battery shelf life. That's reliable light you can count on. Don't overlook the importance of quality gear for hands-free tasks. New models are lightweight and feature red light modes that preserve your night vision, crucial if you need to move around at night without disrupting your eye's natural adaptation to darkness. Solar-powered lights are another incredible option. These can last up to 12 years without replacement. Even after cloudy days, solar lanterns provide enough light to read by, and many can charge small devices via USB. That's dual functionality that could be life-saving. Let's talk about batteries for a moment. Store them at room temperature in a dry place. Refrigeration doesn't actually help, despite what you might have heard. Lithium batteries last up to 10 times longer than alkalines, so they're worth the extra cost. Set calendar reminders every 6 months to check expiration dates and test your emergency lights. There's nothing worse than reaching for a flashlight in an emergency only to find dead batteries. Light isn't just practical, it's deeply psychological. Being able to see your loved ones' faces during an emergency provides comfort that's impossible to put a price on. It reduces anxiety, helps maintain routines, and makes the situation feel manageable instead of terrifying. Now, let's talk about power. In a blackout, electricity becomes as valuable as gold. Power banks aren't just for travel anymore, they're essential survival tools. High-capacity power banks with 25,000 to 30,000 milliamp hours can charge smartphones multiple times, run USB fans, and power laptops for hours. Solar-powered options like the Anchor Power Core or SolarAxe allow you to recharge indefinitely, as long as you have sunlight. Imagine never running out of power, even during an extended outage. For more substantial power needs, portable generators are the answer. Dual fuel models that run on both propane and gasoline provide incredible flexibility. When one fuel becomes scarce, you can switch to the other. Solar generators are another excellent choice. They're quiet, produce no emissions, and can be recharged endlessly without fuel. If anyone in your family relies on medical devices like CPAP machines, this becomes even more critical. New portable battery systems can run CPAP machines for 3 full nights on a single charge. Generator maintenance is non-negotiable. Store extra fuel safely in approved containers away from living spaces. Test your generator regularly, monthly if possible, and keep detailed logs of each test. Always run generators outdoors, never in garages or near windows, and invest in models with carbon monoxide shutdown protection. This feature automatically turns off the generator if dangerous gas levels are detected. Power banks and generators aren't luxuries, they're lifelines when the grid collapses. Let's shift to communication. During disasters, the ability to communicate becomes more valuable than food. A Red Cross survey found that 78% of Americans have no backup communication plan whatsoever. When cell towers fail, and they will during major disasters, how will you get information? How will you reach loved ones? How will you know if it's safe to stay or time to evacuate? Hand crank emergency radios are absolutely essential. Models like the Midland ER310 provide weather alerts, emergency broadcasts, and evacuation instructions when cell towers are down. These aren't your grandfather's radios. Modern versions include USB charging ports, flashlights, and even solar panels. They're compact, rugged, and could literally save your life by keeping you informed. Make sure you have power banks with at least 20,000 milliamp hour capacity specifically dedicated to communication. Keep them fully charged and check them monthly. Here's something that seems old-fashioned but is critically important: physical maps and written contact lists. Most people don't know important phone numbers by heart anymore. Everything's stored in their phones. But what happens when your phone dies and you can't charge it? Write down essential contacts, meeting locations, and out-of-state relatives who can serve as communication hubs. For truly advanced communication, consider mesh network devices. Gadgets like Gotenna or Meshtastic allow texting and GPS location sharing without any cell service. They create peer-to-peer networks that can extend for miles when multiple users have them. Satellite messaging devices like the Garmin InReach Mini work anywhere on the planet. Yes, they require subscriptions, but when you're in a genuine emergency with no other way to call for help, they're priceless. Here's the key: test your communication backup plan regularly. Don't wait for an emergency to figure out how to use your hand crank radio or mesh network device. Make blackout drills a family activity. Practice communicating without cell phones. It might seem silly, but during the Texas blackout, families with communication tools were significantly safer and more comfortable. They knew where to find resources, could coordinate with neighbors, and didn't panic because they stayed informed. Now we need to talk about health and medical preparedness. When the power goes out, pharmacies close and hospitals get overwhelmed fast. A CDC study found that 68% of Americans lack adequate emergency medical supplies. Don't be part of that statistic. Building a comprehensive first aid kit is non-negotiable. Start with basic medications, pain relievers, fever reducers, antihistamines, and oral rehydration solutions.
The Red Cross now recommends a 7-day supply of all essential medications. If you or family members take prescription medications, this is critical. Talk to your doctor about getting emergency backup supplies. Many insurance companies now cover this specifically for disaster preparedness. Some will approve a 90-day supply instead of the usual 30-day prescription. If anyone in your household relies on medical devices like CPAP machines, nebulizers, or oxygen concentrators, backup power is literally life or death. We talked about power banks and generators earlier. This is where they become absolutely critical. Create medication cards for each family member, listing all medications, dosages, and allergies. Keep these in your emergency kit and in your wallet. In a medical emergency, this information could save a life. Don't forget special needs. Diabetics need extra glucose tablets. Asthmatics need backup inhalers. People with mobility devices need extra batteries or charging solutions. Stock up on wound care supplies, gauze, antiseptic, medical tape, and instant cold packs. These basics can prevent minor injuries from becoming major problems when professional medical care isn't available. Here's something most people overlook. Get a physical medical reference book. When the internet is down and you can't Google symptoms or treatments, having a comprehensive medical guide could make the difference between handling a situation and watching it spiral out of control. Minor injuries and illnesses can become genuinely dangerous during extended outages if you don't know how to treat them properly. Let's talk about something people often ignore until it's too late: sanitation and comfort. This might not seem as urgent as water or food, but sanitation quickly becomes a crisis during extended blackouts. Emergency rooms saw a 47% spike in urinary tract infection cases during the Texas blackout. Why? Because people avoided using bathrooms when they couldn't flush toilets. That's a preventable health crisis. Camping toilets are specifically designed for this situation. They're portable, feature odor trapping systems, and are surprisingly easy to use. If you're on a tight budget, you can create a DIY solution with a 5-gallon bucket, a toilet seat lid, and cat litter. It's not glamorous, but it works and maintains dignity during a crisis. Temperature control is another major comfort and safety issue. Battery-powered fans can make sweltering heat bearable. Mylar emergency blankets are incredibly effective at retaining body heat when it's cold. They're compact, cheap, and can literally prevent hypothermia. Stock up on personal hygiene supplies, baby wipes, no-rinse bathing wipes, feminine hygiene products, diapers if you have young children, and basic toiletries. Being able to stay clean isn't just about comfort, it prevents infections and illness. Proper waste management becomes critical during extended outages. Double bag all trash to prevent smells that attract rodents and insects. Have plenty of heavy-duty garbage bags on hand. And here's something that has enormous psychological value: comfort items. Board games, books, and puzzles help maintain morale and mental health during extended outages. When there's no TV, no internet, and no distractions, these simple items can make the difference between a manageable inconvenience and a genuine mental health crisis, especially for children. Now let's talk about some advanced strategies that separate prepared families from truly resilient ones. Create a family emergency binder. This should contain copies of important documents, insurance policies, medical records, identification, bank account information, and your complete emergency action plan. Store everything in waterproof bags or containers. If you need to evacuate quickly, grab the binder and go. Build relationships with your neighbors before disasters hit. Establish a neighborhood network. Communities with strong social connections and communication systems have proven far more resilient during emergencies. Share skills and resources. Maybe one neighbor has medical training, another has a generator, someone else has a large water storage system. Working together multiplies everyone's capabilities. Here's something most people never do, but absolutely should. Conduct blackout drills. Turn off your main breaker for a few hours and see what happens. You'll immediately identify gaps in your preparation. Maybe you discover your battery-powered lantern doesn't work, or you realize you don't actually know how to use that camping stove, or you find out your battery pack is dead. Better to discover these problems during a drill than during a real emergency. Don't forget special needs. Diabetics need extra glucose tablets. Asthmatics need backup inhalers. People with mobility devices need extra batteries or charging solutions. Stock up on wound
wound care supplies, gauze, antiseptic, medical tape, and instant cold packs. These basics can prevent minor injuries from becoming major problems when professional medical care isn't available. According to the Red Cross, households with these 8 basic categories of supplies experienced 70% less stress during recent crises. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between panicking and coping, between dangerous desperation and calm problem solving. Extreme weather events are predicted to increase by 40% this year alone. The time to prepare isn't when the warnings start blaring, it's right now while the lights are still on. Preparation isn't just about survival. It's about maintaining dignity, health, and peace of mind when everything else is chaotic. Start with one category today. Pick the area where you're weakest and fix it. Then move to the next. Build gradually and test your systems. Your family deserves better than cold beans by candlelight, wondering if help is coming. The grid may be fragile, but you don't have to be. Start with just one category from this video today. If you found this valuable, smash that like button and subscribe to Prep Pantry for more life-saving content. Drop a comment below telling us which preparation category you're tackling first. Stay safe, stay prepared, and we'll see you in the next video.